So what's up? I'm Remy for short. So I don't know if this will be video number 2 or 3 or what. Should be 3, but we'll see. So I just got done watching another video from like 7 months ago, and seeing the difference. Like I'll post it eventually, because I want people to see like and this one's not even that bad. Like I started recording I think in like January, and initially it was for something else, and then the whole spiritual awakening thing started up again in April, and like once that started up it was just like, okay, so like I guess that's the direction we're gonna go. But I do know that like I want to be able to help. I don't even want to say people that struggle like mental illness, the broken, basically, whether it's mental illness or spiritual or physical, whatever the fuck. Addressing the pain, I guess I just got to a point where like I'm tired. I think a lot of us are tired, keeping up with the status quo and like what we're told we're supposed to do every day. And it's basically work, pay bills, and then die, because that's life, right? And that just doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sound right to me. It doesn't feel right to me. I don't think it feels right to most people anymore. I think we're all kind of coming to that realization that like shit's changing. Things aren't the same, and like what we were told was important for most of our life, where I think a lot of us are finding that that's not really the case. We all talk about wanting heaven on earth, but none of us are striving to actually make that happen. Like, why do we need to wait for a savior to come do that for us? Like, it's possible, and to do it on our own. And the number one thing that I think that we need to start realizing is our biggest issue that we're, I think, struggling with everywhere is the divide, the separation. What I understand so far from my spiritual awakening is that in myself, I needed to balance my masculine and my feminine, right? It's something that we all have. It doesn't refer to gender. It refers to, your basically the right and left side of your brain. Women are right side, men are, or well, masculine is the left side, feminine's right side. It's your creativity, the left side, your logic. It's balancing those two sides in yourself. Once you do that and you're able to balance that within yourself, you can start helping the people around you to do the same thing. In finding your counterpart, the other half of your soul, and balancing that person, you widen that range. It's balancing that masculine and feminine aspect in all areas, in every relationship, in yourself. And the more of us that do that, the more of us that are able to find that balance between the two, the wider that net gets. The understanding of like the universe, like now they're like scientifically proving that the universe is mental. And like through my whole deep dive with this spiritual stuff, I've come to understand that like everything that we all talk about how, well, God or source, whatever you want to call him, it's all right. I promise you that he, whatever, does not get fucking offended by what you call him. And that's a fact. Like, I get some people aren't going to like me because of the way I talk. I greatly apologize if I offend you. That is not at all my intention. This is just me. And like, I'm done apologizing for any part of myself, because at the end of the day, I'm not a dick. I don't take advantage of anybody. I'm not out here fucking anybody over. I'm healing myself, and in turn trying to help heal other people. And if you don't like me for that, maybe it's time to look at yourself. Ask yourself why. I get that I can be a little vulgar at times, and that's how I was raised, a little bit of country, a little bit of hood in there. And that's who I am, and I'm pretty fucking happy that that's the case. I'll be honest. But anyway, so a big thing that I think that I've kind of come to understand with this is that in balancing that part of myself, I help balance that, as well in my counterpart, my twin flame, or whatever it is that prefer to call it. I don't know for sure that I know who that is yet. I think I do. Story for another day. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But I've learned that in healing, when you're attached to people, like spiritually, like by the soul, and especially if you're going through this awakening thing that's happening right now, and it's happening all over the world. Like, I don't really care how people look at me right now. This is coming, and it's going to smack everybody in the face if you're not already like noticing the changes and like what's happening. This is very much real, and it is happening. And over 2025, 2026, people are going to start to see this on a really big scale. And I feel, grateful to be, one of the lucky ones that gets to kind of go through it first. I mean, we're the trailblazers of this whole thing, and that can be a little intimidating, and we're going to be the ones that everybody wants to talk shit about. And because we're going to question a lot of things, a lot's going to be coming out into the open over the next like year and a half, 2 years. I really believe that's going to make people question everything about themselves, about their relationships, about what is actually important to them, if they're really happy in their lives. And that's going to cause a lot of tower moments for a lot of fucking people. When this all started with me, as a matter of fact, it was before the visions and stuff started. When I lost my fiance in 2020, a few months later, I'd went to the spiritual place that I like to go to in Central Florida. And I remember sitting with somebody and her telling me, she goes, within 2.5 to 3 years, she goes, you're going to see a full-bodied apparition. And she goes, after that, she goes, everything for you is going to change. And I kind of blew it off at the moment. I didn't really think too much of it. And it was, I want to say it was like 2 years, and I think like 2 years, 10 months, and 5 days or something. And I saw my first full-bodied apparition, looked like as solid as you and me, standing directly in front of me. And it blew my fucking mind. And when she told me that like this was going to happen, she goes, I advise, she goes, that you start to study and learn about this stuff. She goes, because if you don't, she goes, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks, and you're not going to be prepared for it. I didn't heed the advice. I saw a full-bodied apparition, like 2 years, 10 months, whatever it was in. And it blew my fucking mind. Like, I've had spiritual experiences before, but it went to the extent of like anytime I would lose somebody that I was like spiritually connected to on like a soul level. I've always been real sensitive to that. Like, I know the people that I connect to that way, and then the people I just connect to in like a physical sense. Like, we connect here in this realm, but they're not part of like the soul tribe type of thing, right? Like, I've always been able to distinguish the difference between the two. Anytime I would lose somebody that I was connected to on a soul level, I got signs from them immediately. Like, within 24 to 48 hours of them passing, I was getting signs that they crossed over, they made it successfully, and they were good. That was the extent of it. I've seen like little shadows here and there, stuff like that I think everybody, if you're honest with yourself, I think everybody's seen. My understanding of like, we all think heaven is above us. It's not. It's right here. It's right here. It's in front of you every single day. We just don't see it because it's vibrating on a different frequency, basically. It's like we're standard television trying to see, heaven, which is HD. You can't. But it's right here. When people pass, they don't just like leave and go they're still here. They're still very much here. You just don't see them physically anymore. But, you end up like I did, where you have no choice but to go internally and do a deep dive into yourself. And all of a sudden, like, you start to hear and see some shit. You start to see that other dimension that we all think is like outside of us and away from us and separate from us, because that's what the powers to be want. And I'll get into all that and my view on that and why I think that they do that. And I think we all know why, but whatever. Anyway, so I'm gonna lose track a bunch of times, and that's just whatever. So, what am I learning through this whole experience, right? So, I think the most important things is learning how to be myself without apologizing for it. I know who I am. I spent my whole life feeling like I didn't. And the reason why is because I was trying to make myself fit in all of the roles that everybody told me I was supposed to be. And that's just not who I was. So of course I never felt like I knew who I was because I was always trying to be something that I wasn't. Thinking that I had to be this, this golden child and this saint, and I wasn't. And then ending up in like therapist's office and all this shit because something was wrong with me. And no, it's not that anything was wrong with me. It's just that at a very young age, because I wasn't exactly the way somebody wanted me to be, I must be broken. I must be damaged. Let's not nurture the sides of her that she's showing are who she is. Let's not, take those sides of her and make sure to push those since we can see that's who she is as a person. Let's force all this shit down her throat instead. And when she doesn't conform, we'll force, pills down her throat and tell her she's broken. I mean, that's what happened. Was it done like intentionally and like maliciously to like fuck me up? I mean, I hope not. Could it have been? Maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't put anything past anybody anymore. And I hate to say that because I mean, essentially I'm talking about family and people closest to me, and again, like, I don't think it was intentional. I think people are just broken in their own way, and they love the only ways that they know how to, and sometimes that's healthy and sometimes that's not. And if it's not healthy, then you need to change it, because the unhealthy person's not going to change it for you. They're going to dig their claws into you and do whatever they can to keep you there, because your light feeds their demons. Your energy, your happiness, your whatever, by them stripping you of that, it helps to feed their ego, to feed their demons, to feed, whatever it is they need to feed within themselves, because they can't fulfill themselves on their own. And it took me finally stepping back away from everything, away from everybody, losing myself completely. I mean, I went through the dark night of the darkest night of the soul. And it lasted like a couple years. Like, this was not a quick process. It was not an easy process. Like, I was brought down to my knees to the point, like, you can't be brought down any further, And thank God for that. At the time it was painful, and 13:31 on the time. It was painful, and my heart was broken, my soul was broken, I felt shattered, every part of me felt broken. I was in physical pain, I was in emotional pain, my health was a mess. Everything was my whole life was a mess, And it was a mess because I was fucking miserable. I was trying to live a life that I never wanted, I was trying to live the way everybody else told me I was supposed to. I never took my own feelings, my own thoughts, my own wants, my own desires into consideration, because I was always told you weren't supposed to. This is how you live life. This is what you do. You're a woman. You keep your mouth shut. You only talk when, somebody talks to you, and you have a bunch of children, and then you clean the house and you cook, and you fuck your husband when he tells you that you're supposed to, and then you die one day. Right? That's the American way, correct? I mean, there's nicer ways to say it, obviously, but in the most simple terms, same story, And then the man, well, you're going to go to work every day, and you're going to bring home a paycheck, and, you and your wife will fight constantly. And, if you want to get some tail, then you can try, you can ask. It's probably always going to be no. You can just take it if you want, but depending on how psychotic your wife is, she could stab you or she might be all for it. Who the fuck, who knows? So, and then you can die too. And then, we'll take your pension or your life insurance or whatever the fuck, if nobody claims it, well, cool, the government will take it, because that's life, right? That's the American dream, guys. That's what we're fighting for. Make sure you have that white picket fence up there, because that's important. Don't let that go, guys. I mean, I get that I sound pretty cynical, right? And maybe I am. I don't fucking know. Like, but at the end of the day, like, what the fuck is the point? Like, if that's all you're living for, if that's what you're doing, and you're fucking miserable every day, and your head hurts, your back hurts, you're stressed out, you're fucking, your cholesterol's out of whack, you're having anxiety, you're getting chest pains, and you're not even 40 yet. Maybe something's wrong. Maybe you're not really living the life you're supposed to be living. Maybe it's the one everyone's telling you should be living. But if that's how you feel every day, then you're not living the life you're supposed to be living. Because when you live the life you're supposed to be living, the one that you came here to live, the one that you signed a contract with Source before coming and said, this is what I'll do while I'm down there so I can learn whatever it is my soul needs to learn to evolve and assist the collective and assist Source in learning of itself and figuring out what it even is, because I feel, in my opinion, that that's what the universe is doing. It's mental, just like we are, and learning what it is, what it likes, what it doesn't like, how to love. Just like we are, it's doing the same damn thing on a bigger scale. That's what oneness is. We all go, there's different personalities, and and all of that goes back with you. And yes, there is a connectedness. Like, when I have these visions, like, there is very much a oneness. There's a connectedness in everything, but there's also, like, I don't want to say a separation, because it doesn't, when I go into the veil, like, and I have these experiences, like, I don't feel separation. I feel connected to all of it without losing myself. Like, it's a really neat experience. Like, it's hard to really put it into words. I don't know how to explain it in, like, a way that would help, everybody understand. But, like, you feel this compassion and this connectedness with other souls. And not just, like, we see souls as though it's, like, only in people. Let me tell you, it's in fucking everything. Everything has, I don't know if it's soul, everything has consciousness. I don't care if you're looking at a rock, if you're looking at, to me, in my opinion, I feel like each photon has consciousness. And, photons are what create light, which is essentially all we are. We're just a more dense version of it. We're more compacted, 5D, the spirit world, whatever, is not as compacted, which is the only reason we don't fucking see it. It's no different than us. And, like, we sit here and we want the world to change. We want to have heaven on earth, but we all think so negatively. We speak so negatively. We treat each other like shit. We don't balance ourselves. We don't balance our relationships. We don't balance our careers. We don't balance shit. How do you want the world to change if you're not balancing anything out? Like, if you want to have heaven on earth, the reason they say create it in yourself first is because consciousness touches everything, from us to animals to plants to solid matter. Consciousness is in everything, which is why we say God is in you. God is in everything. It's because consciousness is in everything. When you think or feel or act on something, it's putting that energy out into the universe, and it does create a ripple effect. And I know people talk about this, and I don't think people really sit down with the concept and, like, understand what is being said. Microwaves cooks your food. You can't see it, but it has a drastic effect on your food. Your thoughts, your actions, your words, it's the same thing. It still puts that energy out there and creates an effect on the things that it touches. Whether you see it or not, it's still happening. the more the reason we're so divided right now, the reason the powers to be want us divided, is because the more of us that are thinking negatively, that are speaking negatively, that think we need to hate the next person, that think we need to have this, this exterior of like constantly being on guard and in fear, they're winning. They're winning, and they know that because they understand how this field works. This, auric field, the Akashic field, the quantum field, whatever the fuck you want to call it. We interact with it every day. We interact with spirit every day. Your spirit is, we want to believe that it's inside of us. In my opinion, it's still, it is attached, but it's only as attached as you physically allow it to be. If you don't understand who your soul is, you don't know yourself. They are like, I'm very much aware that there's like two aspects of me now, almost like two different people. Like, it's not like I go into one and lose the other. Like, it's, it's not like that, like a split personality type of thing, but I can feel the difference when I'm in my physical emotions and like in myself too much. I'm completely disconnected from my soul. I start to react instead of like thinking and like seeing the perspective from like a higher, or seeing like a situation from a higher perspective. I'm going, and acting directly from self instead of soul. When I'm with my soul, like, and I'm in that moment and I'm feeling my emotions but not becoming my emotions, and I'm really like getting in touch with the spiritual side of myself before reacting on anything, or before, making any like rash decisions or jumping, back at people now. Like I used to, like I used to be very defensive and on guard because I constantly felt like I had to protect myself, like all the time, from fucking everything. Now I just don't give a fuck. Like, oh, fuck it. Been through everything. There's nothing left to take. There's nothing, and that was the most beautiful gift I was ever given, was losing everything. That sounds crazy, but what it blessed me with, like this outlook that I have now, what it's turned me into, I think is fucking amazing. And I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. And I shattered in every sense of the word. I lost all of myself for, months, really. And now I see like what's coming out, and I was told this like in a vision, like from the beginning, that wait till you see like who you are when this is over. Like, wait till you see where we get you, and I'm happy, I'm really happy. And I know that I'm still growing. Like, this is all new and like very uncomfortable for me. And I'm not one to like put myself out there like that. But I know that like for the first time ever, I really love who I am. I love everything about myself. I know that I'm kind. I know that I have a good heart. I know that, anybody from my past that hates me, like, or whatever, dislikes me, you can have a conversation and ask them, well, why? I guarantee you they don't have an answer. She's too nice. Did she steal from you? Well, no. Did she, fucking, I don't know, poison you? Did she piss in your coffee? Like, well, no. She take your job? Nope. She fuck your man? Nope. So what's the problem? Yeah. Like, for me, the only reason that there's anybody that could say that they don't like me or they feel some kind of way towards me, or because I'm aware there's a lot of people that are going to talk shit about this. I already know people are going to come up and tell me, don't do that. You're making yourself look silly and whatever. I don't give a fuck. Flat out. I just don't. If you think I look silly, don't watch, then it means it's not for you. There's gonna be a lot of broken fucking people that have been through a lot of shit that don't give a fuck what I look like, that don't give a fuck that I'm cursing, that don't care about any of that. They're just trying to find a way, and those are the people I want to talk to anyway. And they're not gonna be pissed off and offended or hurt or tell me that like I need to stop because they're all gonna laugh at you. Like, it's not, nope. I mean, some people might, and that's cool. Like, if I give you the giggles, awesome. It might not be what you want, but if you're laughing, whether it's laughing at me or with me, you're laughing. So it's helping you too, in a sense, you know? But that's the goal here, you know? Like, it's just, I'm gonna be authentically myself. I'm gonna put myself on blast. I'm sure that I'm gonna embarrass the shit out of myself every now and then. And I'm okay with all of it. I'm alright with all of it, you know? I don't have anything else other than myself to offer anybody right now. And it's the most beautiful thing in the world, because for the first time, like, if you're in my life, it's because you're here for me, because there's nothing else for me to offer anybody anymore. I've lost it all. It's all gone. So, and there's no one in my life right now, but that's okay too, because I'm actually like, I'm really okay by myself, which is fucking weird because they say you're not supposed to be, right? And this is the happiest I've ever been. And I've been like on my own for months now, and I had to really push some people out of my life, like really like I'm sorry, like I love you, but I'm going to love you from a fucking distance because I need this for me. I need to learn who I am. I need to learn what I want. I need to learn where the fuck I'm going without anybody else having anything to say about it. Whether it be friends or family, I didn't give a fuck. I shut out everybody. And I needed to. I needed to. Nothing in my like physical situation as far as like my home and all that shit. Like, yeah, like I'm down to, I might be on the street here soon. It's gonna suck if that happens. But getting this spiritual stuff for me became everything for the last couple months. I didn't care to work. I didn't, and not because I didn't want to. I'm a hard fucking worker. I'll pull 24 hours off like nothing and do it with a smile on my face. Like I really enjoyed when I was doing that. And finally, like I went into the spiritual stuff, and instead of doing that for another boss and making them money, you know, and getting paid shit, you know, or even like for my own business, like I finally just walked away from all of it and was like, you know what, like I'm done. I want to know what the fuck I want. Because when I lost everything and I buried everybody, the materialistic shit didn't do anything for me. I had brand new cars, I had new motorcycles, I was, you know, I was young, I was successful, I was making money, I didn't need anybody. And I was lonely. I was miserable, you know. Now all of a sudden here I am losing fucking I got nothing, man. I got nothing. Like I'm down to like I think $3 in my account right now. Like it's that bad. And I'm okay with it, you know. It sucks. I'm eating ramen noodles every night, but I'm all right with that. And when I gain things back, because I will, I always do, I'll appreciate it even more again the next time, you know, because I always do, you know, and I'm just like, I'm grateful for the situation. I'm grateful for the time that I had to shut everybody out. I'm grateful for the strength that I found to shut everybody out. It was heartbreaking. It was incredibly difficult to do, like to tell a bunch of people that I loved, like, I'm sorry, but I can't anymore. I can't, because you're concerned mostly about you. And I'm not in a place, I had nothing left to give of myself anymore. And unless I shut everybody else out, even if it hurt them, and my greatest blessing I've ever had in my entire life was this experience, was losing everything. You know, and I'm not saying go set your life on fire, don't do that, because this is incredibly difficult to get out of. I don't know how long it's going to be until I do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my shit back together. I'm very much up in the air with shit, but I have more, I was just going to say joy, which is crazy. I have more joy inside of me right now. I've actually, I don't think I've ever felt it before, so, I have more joy inside of me right now than I've ever felt. And I got nothing. And I'm okay with that. You know, it's been a really long road, but I'm going to keep going, you know, and hopefully I can reach back and help some other people do the same. And this is going to end, so we're going to start another one.